I think the reason why music is such a powerful tool to inspire change around the world is the ability to embed one's soul into the music with the message and the story, and then it allows you to emit the emotions that you truly feel genuinely. My name is J.Otis, and I'm from a remote northern community in the James Bay called Fort Albany First Nation. It's a flying community, pretty small. It's like 700 people. I was initially part of a bigger community, but we were split into two, and it's divided between Saskatchewan and Fort Albany now. Fort Albany is pretty unique because in the summer it goes up to 30 degrees Celsius, and then in the winter it drops down to like negative 30s, 40s, and 50s. The land is very beautiful. It's a merge of different islands and it's connected to the ocean. So every winter when the ice breaks up, the river jams up, and then a lot of people need to get flown out each year because of the risk of flooding. When living in a flying community, because it's hard to access, the food prices go up by like 150%. The flights to even get in are roughly around like $700-800. So a return trip will cost you roughly around like $1,400. And for a lot of people, that's way too much to even afford when the prices of just living there are so high. It's very remote, very isolated, but it's designed to kind of make sure that everyone stays in there. There's a lack of jobs, resources. My father is originally from Timmins, Ontario. He's adopted too, so he had foster parents. For the early years of my life, despite me going to Fort Albany throughout my childhood, his foster parents kind of did a lot of the raising us. When they passed away, that's when I moved back to Fort Albany. I think the reason why I came out this way is because I had a taste of what a normal life should look like before moving into the toxic environment. And then when I moved back there, that's when I seen people drinking in the house, the blackout fights and everything like that. And then in the background too, I also had ceremonies introduced to my life. So I had the culture kind of being instilled in me with the healing process. That kind of kept me grounded throughout the rest of my childhood and youth. It kept me sober because I was sitting in rooms with adults who are healing from all this trauma. It was educating me on why it is the way it is, the trauma that exists. Growing up, I remember thinking to myself, I don't want to drink. I don't want to do drugs because I don't want to end up like my family that was in there. Seeing that though, and experiencing that firsthand and watching it happen in front of me and not being able to do anything, and the feeling of kind of like hopelessness being in that environment gave me the strength to not self-medicate. And then music became my only form of self-medication and staying sane. And so I picked up the guitar and bass, keys and drums. I shifted into hip hop during a suicide crisis in my community. When the first suicide happened, it kind of sparked a chain where after that it was like, the next month was another suicide, then the next month was another suicide. I remember not even being in Albany when these suicides were happening. And I remember there was a bunch of deaths too, like even natural causes that were happening. I think that like by the mid of that year, it was like 8 people. I personally no one died, right? And so it kind of messed me up. But then the last suicide before we were even announced a suicide crisis was a 12-year-old who was my little cousin, where I kind of like used to hang out with, teach him how to fight. Taught him how to like basically fight off bullies. You know what I mean? Taught him how to throw a good punch, protect his little brother type stuff. And then, yeah, he killed himself too. It really messed with me because I wasn't even allowed to go back to my community to bury any of them because I needed to leave to go to high school. So it's kind of stuck in North Bay for a while. But after my little cousin died, I kind of moved back up north to try to stop the rest of my cousins from committing suicide. While I was burying my peers and like one of my little cousins, I didn't want to drink or use alcohol or do drugs. So the only thing I knew how to do was music. And then my peers were actually using that to stay alive, which was crazy because they're like, yo, J.Otis actually made this stuff. On top of making the song to try to inspire them, I also went back, started rounding up basically all my other cousins who were feeling suicidal at the time and created a peer-to-peer support network with them. As this date got closer, I was pretty excited. I actually couldn't really sleep last night too. I was kind of tossing and turning. Now I'm excited. Like I was kind of waiting for this for a minute. All right, guys, let's get them. We're just about to enter the Orange Lounge. This is the first time seeing a studio in Toronto, downtown. I heard about this place a couple times. Supposed to record here once. This is supposed to be one of the high-end ones. So yeah, let's check it out.
Being able to be an artist instead of an engineer doing this for other people was really refreshing because I got in this industry to be an artist. Not necessarily to be an engineer, but I had to become an engineer to have a shot. And so being allowed to be an artist fully and just have that creative freedom and having an engineer running me through the tracks, taking the time to actually make my takes, good takes, that is technically what I've been striving to be able to do since I started music.
I have to make a change. I cannot walk away, cause the younger generation feel the same pain that I felt back in my day. Grew up way too fast, 14 years old, but making that fast cash. By the age of 9, hitting blunts, I passed that. Age 11 when my grants passed. After that, had to move back to the trap, but I had guidance. Think of the land, birds, trees, diamonds in the sand. Yeah, I come from islands. Think on respect and violence. When bad things happen, don't expect hear no sirens. Many didn't survive, many dead and gone.
The version that I made, it's more about something that happened years and years ago. So I was trying to come from a place of like humility, I guess, in a sense of making a song and not trying to be angry at the world. More or less just, this is the truth of it. This is what's happening in our lives. This is what I'm battling. And with that, I hope to inspire not only my peers, but also allow people to understand our point of view. That first half that I initially made was all in one take of a freestyle, and I was like, this is it. And then I was blind for the second half for a long time because I was still trying to get my head around the first half that I made, and I was like, how did I make that? Like, it was more like a gift. I don't feel like it came from me, but I felt it came from like my actual ancestors and the spirits that I was trying to work with to be able to make the song and make sure that it has a positive impact.
They need me to be strong, cause I come from the rest. Just another statistic to wind up dead or missing, but I made it here instead. So if you wanna hear about my life, then listen, cause I come from the rest. Just another statistic.
For my social impact project, what I did was we facilitated two-week workshops compacted into one. So it was 4 weeks, back to back, Monday to Sunday. We didn't even take weekends off. We did 3 songs and we shot one music video with the youth from Fort Albany. We got the community hall. It's donated to us by the community. And then using that space, we basically opened up the doors for all the youth during the summer who wanted to partake in a music production workshop called Healing Through Music that we did. We had roughly around 19 participants. The reason why I tend to go and try to help and assist a lot of people is because you can't stand by to watch your peers and the people you care about die. There was a quote that actually inspired me, which was, become the change that you want to see in your community. And if you want to see any change, you have to become the change. So by becoming the person who I needed in my life, I could be there for myself, but also do that for others. That's what Versions taught me, was like, if you're gonna do it, just commit to yourself first, walk your path first. And then after, when you look back at the path, at least you have a more clear blueprint of the direction you're going instead of just leading other people blindly.